Okay, so we focused on the shot, the low single leg shot. You know, the low single leg shot, there's three of them. Low single leg to the direct lead leg across from you, right? My lead leg to his opposite leg, right? The misdirection, going to the lead leg, changing across to the opposite leg. And then taking the shot to our lead leg and on our head punching through. We're going to go back to our low single leg where we're picking heels or we're wrapping, and we're going to do really the traditional way of finishing this. And it's a simple, okay? I'm popping in here, hands here. I'm bringing the trail leg up and planting it. Now, I want to come up. I don't want to step up here. I want that knee down, and I want that shoe into the mat, okay, especially my sole. And from here, all I'm doing, okay, is I'm moving my head. I'm just kind of moving it, okay? And just with my head, I'm moving it, okay? And as I do this, okay, I'm coming up and I'm hopping the hip, feeding right into it, okay? So again, I'm in the low single leg, trail leg comes up, I'm moving him. As I do it all, attacking the knee, okay? A lot of times, you know, if I'm in freestyle, hitting low single legs, more so today than when I was wrestling, you see a lot of guys that have really good transition into leg laces from this, and they'll attack the knee. I always really focused on popping the hip here, coming up and popping the hip. But I like what they're doing now from the standpoint of coming right here, trapping and rolling. You know, folk style, we're going to have to move up. We're going to have to move up, okay? So again, now, a lot of times you'll find that people will limp leg you. You know, and you got to be prepared to limp leg. So I hit a low single leg, I got to the leg, and then they'll limp the knee down. And so I'm right here in this position, I shoot, and now he turns his knee down. Nope, turn it here. He turns it down. All I'm doing is scooping it. Now, this isn't like shooting a swing single. Okay, we end up in the same position, but I'm in such a better position because I'm already in, okay? Is that as soon as that knee goes down, I need to finish. I don't hesitate here. And all I'm doing here is this. As I penetrate here, okay, and he turns it down, I go right to the shoelaces and come up. I don't need to wait. I don't take my head to the mat, okay? It's not like I'm swing singling and my head goes to the mat so it can help me kind of create an angle, okay? He's giving me the angle, okay? The low single leg is straight on. Straight on. Here, misdirection, straight on. If I shoot a low single leg, my head pops through, it's straight on. We're not talking about angles. When you grew up wrestling, you know, everybody talked about getting angles. Well, it's still important you know, especially with our double legs or high crotches, but a low single leg is directly. It's going from point A to point B. If he gives me, okay, an opportunity to finish with my head to the inside, okay, when he turns the knee down, then I'm going to take it. I'm not going to hesitate. I'm not going to drop my head. Just finish the shot. Grab the shoelaces and build up. So I'm here. I shoot. He turns. I'm already on the shoelaces and coming up. Okay? I'm not dropping my head. This is going to happen. I mean, this will happen. Okay? So let me go over the skill again. Make a half turn. There you go. Turn this way. Right there. Here you go. Come here. Okay. So I'm here. He turns. As he turns, I hook. And I'm coming right to the shoelaces right here. As I come to the shoelaces, start building. Okay? Go to the far ankle. Go to the far hip. Okay? I would rather keep it on the mat. Okay? Than take it up and let him try to, you know, challenge me with a leg in the air. I'd rather keep him right down right now. So it's here, he turns, I'm here. Pull it up on my thigh, break him down, I score my takedown. So we have the dump. We have the dump here. Boom. Okay. I go to the hip a lot of times just because that's the way I hit it most of the time. Okay. You can go to the knee. Okay. Look to be building up from there. He turns his knee down. Okay. Coming up. I like to build it up. I say put it up on the table. This is my table. Okay, but I don't want to come up off my feet. I don't need to finish it in the air. I want to finish it right here. If he turns into me here and tries to fight, I just keep pressure on this leg. Collect the ankle, pull it under, score 2. Okay, misdirection. Okay, as I hit a misdirection from here, I'm going to focus on the same thing. But remember, I'm looking right into the knee, and again, I'm attacking it at an angle, okay? But I can do this because I forced him to step back with his lead leg, okay? So I'm here, I take the shot, plan. This needs to be a deep shot. Because I don't want you crawling to this. I want you to be able to go from here to here, not here to an angle, okay? So I'm taking a deep shot, and I'm right here. Same thing. I'm dumping him, scoring my points. The same skills, whether you want to go to the hip or whether you want to go to the knee and look to go into a leg lace, depending on what style you're in, okay? And let's focus on the third one and the finish on the third one. The head comes through, a lot of things happen, okay? But I want us to be the guy in the low single leg that always reacts first. Occasionally, I shouldn't say occasionally, I say often, if I'm wrestling somebody with some knowledge and has got really good scrambling ability, a lot of times they'll hit me first before I react first. And that's okay. I just know what they hit me with, I need to have that skill level, okay, to be able to scramble with this. So when you look at the low single leg, with some of the actions that's taken place the last several years in wrestling, those scrambles of jumping through, jumping around, we need to know them. I mean, one of the neatest things about folk style wrestling over the last 10 years, the scrambles are just incredible, incredible. And that's the difference from when I wrestle to today is really the scrambles. And I would say that's the difference then. And the evolution of the finishes of the low single leg wasn't me, it's this generation that came up with those finishes. And they had to because of so much scrambling. So we'll cover a little bit of this, but a lot of times when my head punches through and I shoot through here, I'm just going to bring my knees together, okay? And I'm going to sit. And then everything goes backwards. So I've taken the shot into my opponent and everything's retreating backwards, okay? And the reason I want to retreat backwards because a lot of times we're going to get a kick out here. Guy's going to kick out. He's going to do some things that I need to be following him, okay? So without you for just a second. So I'm taking the shot. I take the shot. The head went through right here. I'm going to bring my knees together, okay, and sit to my hip and start retreating backwards. So I went in there. I'm coming back out the same way, okay? And so I'm here, now here, change hands, right here, lock it in, hold it tight, across my neck, right here, okay? And now build up, okay? And finish it. There's a lot more to that, but again, one more time. I'm coming in, watch my penetration, knees come together, okay? Bring these together, I go to my butt and I keep rolling. Change hands and finish. So, those are three of the most common positions that we see in the low single leg. From how we finish it with just the dump, the misdirection to the dump, and when our head shoots through on the direct shot and our head shoots through. What do we want to do? We want to react quickly and retreat back out by moving our feet. Okay, I want to show that one more time here. Okay, I get here, a lot of times I'll just swisher my feet, okay, to the outside, and I come back, and I move. Now, once I get here, okay, whatever I do, I don't want to fall to this shoulder and keep a hold of this leg, and my head go to the mat. You see this a lot of times, okay? I don't want to be there, okay? I want to keep my head up, change hands, where now I can just drive it, hip heist, and end up on in my finish for my points. So those are the 3 common finishes to the 3 different ways of scoring out of a low single leg. Now, with this low single leg, we're going to get into some scenarios that sometimes your partner doesn't know all of them, or doesn't scramble real well. So you need to help teach them the things that you need to drill and feel, because you're going to come up, and if you end up having a successful low single leg, you're going to feel these scenarios often in your matches. And the more you know about them, the more you can win with them. And a lot of this is just making sure that I'm keeping my head up. I'm not dropping down to my elbows after I start to come up. Okay, so I'm going to hit a direct low single leg, and it could be on a misdirection low single leg. You could be in the same scenario. All we're doing is changing legs, but yet we're in the same technique, but my other knee's forward, my other leg's the trail leg, okay? So it could be in a straight on low single leg, or it can be on a misdirection low single leg, okay? So when we take this shot, okay, what happens a lot of times is the guy sprawls and only one leg goes back, but it's really heavy on my head. And so I'm going to give you a couple different options, maybe 3, okay, 2 or 3 different finishes. So I'm taking the shot, I hit, okay, and he sprawls back right here, okay? Now, a lot of times in this position, if he gets one leg back, I'm okay, okay? All I need to focus on is the same thing I did before, is now a lot of times what happens here is when I take that shot and he sprawls on me, my head kind of slips through the hole. So I come off that knee with my head in the knee, and it punches it a little bit forward. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to retreat out. Anytime my head goes through, I'm focused on retreating out towards the leg. Head comes through. I don't try to bring it back to finish a shot, okay? So I get here, and I'm doing the same thing, okay? Full 360, staying up and scoring my point. Okay, now one of the things I like to do, come over here, Zoe. Okay, one of the things I like to do right here, if it's heavy here, and when I come and I start, I'm pulling. See, I'm moving him. I'm going backwards. I shot in, I'm coming back. Okay, as I'm finishing this shot. Okay. Now I get in here in this position right here. Another thing I can do here is I can drive that shoulder, okay, and pick the left ankle, okay, and come up, okay. He's not in a real good position to really defend that with a hip lock either, okay. So here, right here, cranking it in again. I don't need to drop my head because I've beaten him already. The only reason I drop my head, the only time I really drop my head is on the actual swing single, the actual shot, because maybe I didn't get to the angle. He doesn't have a choice here. He doesn't have a hip lock. Okay, I'm shooting directly in on this, so there's no hip lock. Okay, as I start to turn, he may be reaching to get the hip lock, but listen, I'm not going to let him do that because I'm going to punch my arm through. So no, just sprawl back. So I get here, as I go, I'm punching the shoulder through where there's no hip lock. Now I build up and finish. So again, we can go to our butt from here, okay? Now, the third one, okay, is catching this leg. So as I pop through, instead of keep rolling out, I catch this leg, okay, and I come back this way. Come back up. You get a little bit more centered on my head. Okay, so I come here, I'm in here, I catch, and turn. Okay, come back. Come up, right here. attacking, okay? So, that's one scenario. We're shooting the low single leg and it gets to the crotch, okay? We see this often, especially in freestyle. This is where you really need to be good, you know. You can't be shooting low single legs and getting in deep and getting in a good position and then getting flipped over for two. Makes no sense, you know. I think it's easier to elevate someone to their back in defense and freestyle, especially in high crotches. I think it's way harder to do this, to be able to punch me over in freestyle from a low single leg, if I understand the skill. When he goes to this position, I got to execute the skill and I'll win every time. Okay? He gets my head down. He gets my head down and my hips up in a high crotch position. I'm going to get flipped. So we don't want to find ourselves giving up points in the low single leg. You want to be scoring the points. So when he goes to the high crotch here, okay, all I'm going to do here in this position, if I feel him starting to lift here, okay, I'm going to change across right here. And I'm going to scoop this leg, okay? And now, what I can do from here is a couple things. I can hip heist back towards the head, which if I'm wrestling freestyle, I'm just going to hip heist back towards the head. So I'm going to release this leg, okay? I'm going to plant this hand, and then I'm going to drive my hips out of this hole, okay, that lock, okay? And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to underhook right here. So I can do this both folk style and freestyle, but know that when he's got this leg, we know where he's taking it, over the top. So that's why we want to come back and hook and catch the crossface here. So when he goes to take it over, I hook and stop the action. Okay? Come back over. So let's focus on this skill again. Make a half turn right here, right here, right here. There you go. I come through, he goes to my crotch right here. When I reach over this leg, okay, I don't really grab it. I just kind of hook it. And now I post it straight. I'm just reaching over, posting where he can't get that foot back. You know, I can come back to traditional straightening the leg, hooking, taking it here, go into our Turk. That's another finish. A really good folk style finish. That particular finish is, you know, I started seeing it maybe 12, 15 years ago. It's not something that any of us did in the 80s or really probably some of the 90s, you know, so maybe a little bit, but not a lot. So again, make a half turn. Okay, I'm here. I start to come up. He's in my crotch. I'm reaching across. See how I bring my head up? When I bring my head up, I put his down. Okay? For him to be successful in elevating me over or trying to get me into a scramble, he needs to keep his head up. Okay? Here, we got two choices. Do we want to go back to the leg to hook? A lot of times this can be a little bit hard. Okay? The one thing I want to make sure is that he doesn't get below my knee. Get below my knee. Yeah. I don't want him there. Okay? So I'm always focused on where this foot is. So as I'm coming out, I'm making sure that leg's extended and not bent here. Okay, where he can take it over his head. So I can hook from here. If he's taking the ankle, driving it straight, coming above the knee, posting it, okay, stepping across. Careful here, you need to keep your hips down. Guys can lift you up and scramble from right here. So when I hook this leg, I want to punch my hips. Okay? I want to really extend that leg, him feel that right here. I don't want him having any idea that he's going to finish this scramble up. And now I come back, and if I feel a little bit loose here, like this guy's in a position where he can still scramble, I'm not even going to bring my hips up. I'm going to keep him on the mat, bring this arm back underneath, okay, and double leg him, take my points. Okay? Because good scramblers can lift you up and take you over. Keep those hips on the mat and just finish it right there. Okay? Turn back. My favorite one is this. I get here, I hook. I set him back, okay? I set him back. As soon as I set him back, okay, I'm going to swish my hips. Rotate my hips towards the head, reach and plant, and I'm going to pull this leg out, okay? Or my hips out of that hole. I'm taking my hips out of this hole, and then I'm coming and catching right here, because the first thing he's going to do is try to put that over his head. I'm catching right here. Put it over your head. Okay? Okay. If I don't get over it, okay, I'm going over. Okay? Now, that's the kind of the scramble that happens in that low single leg. But everything that I'm doing here, come back, Joe. Everything that I'm doing here, okay, is I'm really focused on the key things of keeping my hips. See my hips? I'm down here. Even if I'm going to this, and he's still tight here, here. I still feel it. I'm a little bit wobbly here. He could lift me if I start to bring my hips up. If I start to bring my hips, I can get excited here, and I start to raise my hips up, it might take me right over the top. No, just pop me over. You know, and that, okay? So, a lot of times it's what does he got a hold of? Okay? And if I feel that right here, I'm not comfortable with it, I hook, I'm just throwing my hips in. You feel the stress on that? Okay? And then I'm going to take this elbow back. I'm just going to keep sliding my hips away from me and finish my double. Okay? Back up. Hip heist back towards the head. Okay? I'm here. He locks. He locks here. I catch. Hip heist. Pop it out. Hook. Okay? Once I get him stable and he releases that lock and starts to try to get to his belly, okay, I try to slide in that underhook if I can, that half Nelson, okay? Or I'm just going to keep squaring my hips up and try to get that count, okay? So, a lot of times with these positions in scrambles, a low single leg, if you're properly, there's a lot of things I might not be talking about that I'm doing, and that's why you got to watch on any technique video. You need to watch it real closely, because a lot of times we take things for granted that maybe people don't know. So as you're watching me do this, there may be some things I should be talking about, but I'm just used to doing them, and that's why you got it on video. So, don't just listen to me, but watch me. Watch what I'm doing. Oh no, he's not talking about look what he's doing with his foot right there to be able to hip heist, So I'm coming here in this position, I'm hooking, okay? So what do we do when we hook? Let's say he's not even in my crotch. Just say I shoot my head through here and I get my head through, okay? And I'm here and he's just holding it in here. He might be grabbing an ankle. What I'm going to do from here is just plant this hand and I'm just pushing back into it. I've trapped that leg. He's going down, okay? Anytime he grabs a foot in any situation, always point your knee up and drive through it. Don't keep your knee down when they got a foot. Foot up, knee up to the ceiling, grab ankle. Knee up to the ceiling, kick out. Okay, it doesn't do me any good wrestling from here. Okay, I see over and over, guys never do this. Okay, just boom. I got my power back, okay? Here, hip heist. Leg goes under. Look how I'm staying in one position. When you do a hip heist, you don't roll over. You hip heist in one spot. Here, lifting up. Here. I don't want to roll over the head and lose him. Now, just kind of, I roll over the head, build up, build up. Okay, so some of the finishes to a low single leg, and the ones that you need to know, especially in some of those scrambles. So when we talk about finishes to the single leg, I really covered the ones that that you see often. There's some other things that can happen in the match that are really detailed situations that you don't see often, but somebody is a little bit more flexible, or somebody is just an ultra scrambler. So I'm going to show you one more of what can happen and the type of situation when you get to the leg and your opponent reacts before you. Okay, and one is that we've been taught some of the good defense of after you get to the low single leg is you're crossing over on the same side. So when I shoot this single leg, come on over here. When I shoot this single leg, they're stepping across, okay, right here, okay, and catching that shoulder, okay, and kicking that foot out, okay. A lot of times they'll also catch the near ankle. So they'll get in this position right here and drop and catch that near ankle, okay. And a lot of times just when you fall over, you can roll under it or just lift it up, okay. So I'm here, okay, he catches it and he starts to lift it up, and now he's in a position to defend and even score on me, okay. Shoot the low single leg, okay, same way, okay. The knees coming over the head here, okay, and they're coming up and they're trying to scoop it up and come into you. So what do we do on that? We react. An athlete's going to be an athlete. We react. We need to drill this. We need to make sure we're doing this because I see this more and more with even a swing single. Guys swing single and guys falling over the head. No different than head swing single. You know, just swing it right here. Okay, coming in here, guys falling over here. It's kind of the same, just a little bit different, but it's the same type of situation, right? So he's falling over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to immediately change hands and I'm going to come up right into him. So I shoot, he falls over. I'm coming right up into him. Okay, I follow it. You're going to know where he's at. Come back here. Okay, I shoot and I come up. I'm not staying down on the leg, okay? Now, a lot of I've noticed in a lot of scenarios that this guy prepares for you to get to his leg. And so he's wanting to get on the jump to this immediately. So this is part of his opportunity to score when I hit a low single leg. So sometimes they know you're going to get to the leg. They're not going to try to fight it with a sprawl. They're going to jump right into this. So you kind of know your opponents and know the ones that are going to get into this situation with you. But you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready to react. So as I'm taking that shot and he's going across, I'm changing hands, okay? And I'm backing this arm out, okay, and coming up into him. Okay, I'm not letting him get to this ankle. I'm getting ready to clobber him with a crossface. If I need to break his nose, I'll have to break his nose. Okay, so I take the shot. Okay, he's coming up right here. I'm coming out. Remember what he's trying to do. He's trying to get in my armpit and kick out of it. Okay, so again, I'm here, right here. Hit it quick. Okay, so I've scouted this guy. I know where he's going. I'm going to beat him with better technique. We've had the chance to, we focused on the shot. We focused on the different types of finishes. There's a lot more finishes than that, but I think if you develop what I showed you, you're going to develop some new ones yourself. I mean, like I said, the evolution of the low single leg, there's a lot of things that are different about it today than back in 1992. There's a lot of things that are the same, you know, and there's a lot of really good guys that are executing properly in there and finishing. Now, we got to focus on the setups. What are the setups? You know, so much of the setups is instinct, okay? And the instinct comes from you doing stance in motion, filling your space. You know, and when I say filling my space is I've got some distance. This is not a shot I'm taking from a head-to-head position. This is a shot I'm normally taking where we're a good foot and a half away from each other. There's times that we do make contact that we can shoot it, right? But And there's times that, and there's some shots that you guys fall into a low single leg from maybe a collar tie, you know, but we're talking about penetrating underneath the guy. So with that, we need to recognize that instinct is real important and when to take the shot. Sometimes I never even hit a setup. A guy walks into me, I see him step right into it, bam, I'm on it. You know, I can be right here and he's walking into me, boom. I just change levels and score, you know, and I'm not really changing levels because my stance is already down. I'm already down. I'm feeling the mat. You know, I'm quick shoot, okay? And again, it goes back to one of the setups we covered is a misdirection. The setup is the misdirection. Okay, I want him to know I'm coming to that leg. I want him to break down. I want him to break down, and I'm on it. Okay, that is the setup. Okay, I like sometimes to keep my lead leg hand down. Okay, and I'm reaching. Sometimes I like here. Okay, and I like to pull. Okay, or just kind of scrape his head. Scrape his head. You know, right here. I'm down. It's kind of scraping his head, and a lot of times wherever his body is, if I'm ever in a position to where my foot seems like it's in the middle, what shot am I going to? The misdirection. I don't want to ever put myself in a position on shooting across that body to our traditional low single leg. So if he's circling towards me and he's circling towards me, it's a misdirection. It's so much easier to get to this leg. Okay? So our hand down, either hand. A lot of times, you know, we've talked about always protect your lead leg with the same side hand. Low single leg's a little bit different. If I'm down here, I can do this. I can do this. Okay? And a lot of times, it leads us into a misdirection shot, a lot of our setups, okay? Because they feel that pressure when you start to put pressure on them with your hands. A lot of times their lead leg, they'll start to shift it back and all of a sudden their opposite leg becomes the lead leg. And that would be our misdirection shot, okay? Jab fakes. I'm faking, getting him reacting. Now, what am I watching for when I'm hitting small little jab fakes? I watch what arm they put down. I watch what leg they put down or sprawl back. You know, if somebody's faking at me, I might lift a foot up and favor one foot out in front of me. Well, that's the foot I'm attacking. So if I'm jab faking, whatever foot I see him picking up and dropping back, that's why I said a lot of things on our setups is a lot of times it leads us to our misdirection shot rather than that direct low single leg. Now, when does that direct low single leg come in? It comes in from instinct because I've done so much stance motion and I've reacted and I've changed levels so quickly. I just feel him stepping. I feel him reaching. I post here, he reaches with that hand over the top right here. I'm gone. Boom. Okay, you picked it up. Okay, I'm here. Okay, fake, fake, fake. Finish. Pick it up. We're here wrestling. We may tie up here. You know, I may snap him down. Until that comes back up. Boom. Okay. So a lot of the setups is your instinct on your movement. I know that's going to be kind of hard to understand. So much of the setups, because it's at distance and we're handsy here, it's not like I'm necessarily collar tying you, pulling your head down, posting an elbow. It's a lot of handsy out here. It's a lot of touch. It's a lot of change levels and speed. But more importantly, it's just a lot of instinct. So a lot of my setups is about me feeling that opportunity at all times. He's stepping with the wrong leg. And I've drilled it so much, you know. So a lot of times off our fakes, we need to recognize that You got a chance of scoring every time you jab fake. And on our jab fakes, you know, we don't want to step that foot out in front of our head. A lot of our jab fakes is short steps, changing levels, okay? It's changing levels, you know. And you talk about, you know, the few people that are really good at that jab fakes is, and changing levels. Jordan Burroughs, really good, you know. Jordan Oliver was really good at it. And there's been several others, but it's that instinct, you know. And then what they do following that, a double leg, you know, a swing single, low single leg. They get from that instinct because they fake so much, they practice it so much, they feel the time and the need to shoot at the right time. So can I give you that? Can I teach you that? No, you got to earn that. I can't teach you that. But I will tell you, the time that you spend trying to develop this, you will feel the things that you need to feel. You will take notice on setups being, they're not just some hardcore setups of grabbing an elbow, passing it across, you know, on a high crotch. I mean, when you talk about the high crotch, you can talk about real setups where you're grabbing someone, I'm placing it over the top of my head, I'm coming inside, pulling down, head, raise the elbow up, penetrating. This low single leg is from here. It's space. It's space. And so if I'm going to dominate space, which when I wrestled, that's what allowed me to have my most success, was because I dominated space. Okay? And this guy only knows how to wrestle from contact. Okay? You're already going to lose. Right? So I gotta feel the instinct when I'm in here. I gotta feel my face of when I'm taking. I gotta feel my hands. Okay? I gotta feel my shots. When he doesn't know what's coming. Come on. Up. Doesn't know when it's coming. Doesn't feel it. Right? So I mean, my instinct, you know, it's still a little bit there just because I've done it for so much and I've taught it a lot, you know, so maybe not as quick as I once was. But remember, the feel of how you feel down here, okay? You ever watch Jordan Burroughs touching? He feels that mat. Coleman Scott did a good job of feeling it. And there's a lot of guys, I don't want to miss out. That they feel the necessary things that you need to have to be able, boom, you're in. Bam, you're in, you're done. You finished, 2 takedown. You know, it's almost like the skill is the instinct, but for you to have that instinct, remember, I need to put some time into this. So I need to practice every time. If you notice when I was going through the scenarios of how we get to the leg, I was always focused on my hips being back in the pocket, where my hands were, where my post hand was, where my head was. Okay? Listen, I never want to drop my head. There's a couple finishes in a couple situations that you may drop your head, but I'm going to say it's 1 out of every 15 finishes. So the setups to a low single leg is, I'm going to tell you, is my instinct. And I can't teach you my instinct. You're going to have to feel some things. You're going to have to go back and watch some film on some of these guys that shoot from outside with low single legs or with double legs, or, you know, mostly doubles or singles. And watch how they're moving their feet. Watch their instinct of moving their feet. Watch how they just fire shots off. You know, there's an art to just firing shots off, and it doesn't look like you hit any type of setup, right? It's an art. But what people don't recognize is going, look at him. I mean, how's he do that? He's just shooting in. No, he set that guy on his heels for just a second and allowed him to get to a leg. And it was because of that instinct of practicing. So your setups is your instinct. There's a few things that we can do that I showed you, but there's not a lot. It's just feel. And remember this, a lot of times on our jabs, coming from our jab steps and our fakes, a lot of times that leads us to misdirection shots. So I think, like I said earlier in this film, that I think a lot of you have more success with misdirection rather than a straight on low single leg. Remember, in closing with this is, I said it multiple times, is if you want to develop that low single leg, you've got to be willing to work a little bit harder than the next guy. It takes a little bit more. I gave you an instinct of hitting a high crotch 100 times. We need to do it 300 in low single leg. Because when we change levels and we bring it lower to the mat, it gets a little bit tougher. Okay? But if you happen to come close to developing the nature that it takes to hit a low single leg, ooh, man, you're going to be good. So give it a chance. Focus on your skills. Focus on the technique of it. And man, enjoy it. Low single leg is an awesome, skillful, very skillful takedown.